Okay, looking at strategy now. So just a quick overview of decision making. So businesses always have to make decisions because there's so many wants and scarce, things that they want to do, but resources are scarce, so they have to make a decision. And there's obviously the concept of opportunity cost involved in making a decision. So it's very important. But there's lots of different types of decision making and kind of higher level and lower level decision making. So we get right at the top, we have the mission, the aim of the business. And then from that, you'd want to make your objectives. So kind of break down that aim into more quantifiable targets. And then you have your strategy, which is how are we going to achieve those objectives? And within that, you have maybe tactical decisions, which are smaller decisions on a smaller kind of time scale than a strategy. A strategy we'd more think of like a year strategy or 2-year strategy, 5-year strategy, 10-year strategy, whereas tactics would be more medium term things. And then operational decisions are made on a day-to-day basis. So operational decisions are low level routine decisions or non-routine says there, decisions. So if maybe something breaks down, should you call somebody out or should you wait for the weekly visit? And these are things that everyone's going to have to make a decision about at some point, but they're usually quite short-term decisions made every day. They could be reversed if needs be, and if they go wrong, it's not going to be too costly. Whereas tactical are your more medium-term decisions, and they're going to be made by managers, maybe middle managers or senior managers, because they're more risky and they maybe need a bit more experience to be able to make the decision. Then higher up, you get your strategic decisions. So these are long-term decisions about the direction of the business. Maybe, when you think about Ansoff's matrix and market penetration and product development, market development, diversification, those are very strategic moves that you make. It is riskier. You're sort of determining the whole direction of the business. So this would be made by very senior people. And if the decision is a poor decision, it's going to be quite difficult to reverse, and it's going to be very costly for the business. This is quite logical, but Welsh Board want you to know there is a decision-making process. So you identify what you want to achieve. You might go out and do some revision, exams on the mind. You might do some research and collect and analyse information. You might make a certain decision. You obviously need to communicate that to your employees because nothing's going to happen if you just make the decision in your head. And then afterwards, you'd want to evaluate the results. There are constraints on decisions. We can't just do everything that we want in the world. So first one, money. Money's going to be a big constraint. You can't bring out lots of new products at the same time because you're probably not going to be able to afford the research and development that would be required for them. And company policy as well can restrict the type of decisions that you're allowed to make. So if I want to run a school trip, I have to get permission, I have to get it signed off. So I can't just decide one day that I want to run a school trip. I need to make sure that the decision is put in the hands of the governors or people that are a little bit more senior or a lot more senior to me. And the same is true for businesses. If you want to sign a cheque or write off, pay an expense, if it's above a certain amount, you might have to get 2 signatures. If you want to employ somebody, you might have to have 3 people involved in the interview process, that type of thing. There are also external constraints. So whenever we're thinking about the external environment, thinking of this pestle analysis, and these can constrain decision making. We do go through a lot of these later on, so you might want to look at those presentations as well. So if you were looking at a past paper question, I've just skipped ahead a little bit. This was a question about assess the strategy of this business. I can't actually remember what this business was. But I think it's like Holiday Inn or Premier Inn or something like that. Whitbread maybe. And well, it's from June 2012 if you want to look it up. But the question was assess the strategy. So you don't. All of this stuff that we've just spoken about, this is good kind of overall knowledge, but really this is a very applied question, and what it wants you to do is go into the text, have a look at this text, and pick out what the business strategy is, and then point out the good things, the bad things about it. So, according to the company, its business strategy is focused on strengthening our core mainstream business and investing in areas of future growth, primarily independent travel, travel-related financial services, and other opportunities via mergers, acquisitions, and joint ventures. I think this was actually Thomas Cook, now come to think of it. So you could think about why that would be beneficial, or whether that might be, this kind of links to growth here. Why is that going to be beneficial for the business? Economies of scale. Maybe if you're acquiring another business, you're getting the brand loyalty from their customers, breaking into new markets, maybe access to new customers, access to new markets, maybe acquiring skills and knowledge that your business hasn't built up. Our strategies are built around our vision of going further to make dreams come true. Unfortunately, strategies sometimes, like the one laid out here, they're not always very clear. What does that actually mean? Well, for many of our customers, their holidays are the highlight of their year, and we want to ensure that these holidays live up to their very high expectations. So, if you kind of take that out of the jargon, what they're saying is they want to deliver really high quality services and products. And then you could talk about why that's important, for loyal customers, word of mouth promotion, making sure that people don't want their money back and there's no kind of wastage. At the same time, we also aim to deliver outstanding long-term value to our shareholders. So again, you have to kind of unpick that and think, well, what does that mean? It means kind of sustainable net profit, growth, a good return on capital employed. Why is that important when shareholders would sell their shares if they're not very happy with the business, or they don't think they're going to deliver those results or good enough dividend. That would make the share price fall. People would lose confidence in the company. So it's just about unpicking some of these sentences and going through and talking about why this strategy is important to the business. But also, I think because it was an assess question, it has to be two-sided as well. So you've got to have your kind of critical thinking hat on and think, well, is that a good thing to do? Mergers and acquisitions and joint ventures sometimes don't work out. Sometimes you get very big culture clashes. You can get diseconomies of scale. They're very expensive, especially with mergers. It's sort of like, well, who's in charge? And it can be quite difficult to do. So it's very much an applied question. Make sure you're looking at the case study if you're doing a question on strategy.